With Update 18, we have been given the tools with which to destroy the Thargoid Titans. As such, I thought I'd share some hints and tips that I have learned over the last week or so when it comes to this new gameplay loop. We're going into a maelstrom, so there are some elements that are crucial to your build. These are the Thargoid pulse neutralizer and the caustic sink launcher. You will also, for this task, need one Guardian Nanite torpedo pylon and then something to attack the thermal core when it emerges. AX multi-cannons and missiles work well, and if you've unlocked Sirius missiles, these also come highly recommended. When deciding on the rest of your build, aim for low heat, because Thargoids have difficulty seeing you the cooler you are. On my Crate Mark 2 build linked below, I've used a smaller power plant with low emissions, heat sinks and a small long-range thermal vent beam to keep me as cool as I can. Also, bear in mind you'll be doing a lot of moving around and really want to be in a manoeuvrable ship. Be sure to organise your fire groups. Caustic sinks have to be added to a fire group to use them, but heat sinks and the pulse neutralizer have their own keys in the key bindings that you can assign. When you're ready to go, make your way to the Titan. Be prepared for hyperdictions and interdictions on your way, sometimes to the point of frustration, but eventually you will get to the maelstrom. On entering the maelstrom, head for the large cloud in the centre, ignoring the point of interest marker that will move around. Any caustic damage that you take will be eaten by your caustic sinks, but when these fill up, the caustic damage will then move onto your ship, so it's a good idea to let your sink or sinks, if you have multiple attached, mostly fill before releasing them. You'll continue to take caustic damage until you reach the core, so keep an eye on your caustic sinks. As you get closer to the centre, the cloud will start to agitate, and then the centre will pulse. As it pulses, trigger your Thargoid pulse neutralizer. This will allow you to get through the pulse rather than being pushed back and having to start all over again. If there are multiple people in the instance, you may find that you have to use the neutralizer many times before actually reaching the centre. It's important to remember that while this is happening, you will still be taking caustic damage, so keep an eye on that. Eventually, you'll see asteroids and then the Titan, and you will stop taking caustic damage. Keeping cold, head towards the side of the Titan with the large maw that the interceptors fly out of. You'll see at the end of each of these giant petals there are heat vents, and when they open up intermittently you can lock onto them and fire your Guardian Nanite torpedoes at as many as you can for the time they are open. Providing that you have hit at least one of the vents, you should get a pop-up saying "Heat vents disrupted, Titan overheating," and then that the thermal core has exposed for an emergency vent. Swing around to the opposite side of the Titan and fire everything you have that isn't the nanite torpedo at the core, which should now have exerted. You'll either get it down to 0% or at least have done some damage to it before it retracts. Once it does so, it will start building up to its torus magnetic field burst, and it's advisable to not be inside the field when it happens, so back away and let it do its thing before heading back to the side with the heat vents to start the loop again. It will eventually get very busy in there with interceptors and the dreaded glaives, so it's a good idea to reset the instance now and again, especially if you're playing in a group. This will involve either everybody just leaving, suiciding out of there, or just making sure that there's no one left in the instance. To get out of the magnetic field, I recommend going straight out from where the core is exerted, as due to the shape of the field, it's the shorter distance if you fly in that direction. If you do get far enough away from the Titan when it's doing its field, you'll also find that any interceptors or glaives that were following you should turn back. So if you're under a bit of heat, this is the easiest way to just take a beat, take a breath, and allow your ship to cool down before approaching again. Or do repairs if you've bought a ship which has the capability of doing repairs. Like a lot of stuff in Elite, Titan attacking is so much more fun when playing with a bunch of people. Hitting all the vents and making the core go down to 0% is a burst of serotonin I didn't know I was missing, and it's really only possible in a group. We play pretty regularly in my private group, and you're welcome to join providing the rules are followed. You can find more information about that in my Discord. The link to join is in the description. Thanks for watching. If you have any further questions, I highly recommend the Elite Dangerous category on Twitch, where a whole host of commanders will be happy to answer any questions that you may have. You can find me at twitch.tv/psykit most weekdays.